Hey everyone, Colin here from Presearch. It is Friday, December 3rd. We're here with weekly update number 44, and we've got some different stuff this week because Trey's going to be here. So excited about that. Hope everybody's doing well. Lots of activity happening all the time, but this week in particular, there's lots going on. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. As far as just kind of highlights of the week, more than 4 million searches this week. It's been busy. Traffic has been growing really steadily. More than 3,050,000 registered users at this point. So continued solid growth, more than 158 million pre-staked. A lot of volatility just within the overall crypto space, as well as with Presearch. It's been kind of all over the place this week. Last I looked, it was around 30 cents value of pre. We've got more than 47,400 nodes on the testnet now. So pretty solid and continued growth, pretty amazing. And we did crack 100 million searches in November. So that's pretty cool. Going to talk a little bit about the new ad units that are going live for some additional monetization. And then we've got some questions that we're going to do with Trey, and then we'll wrap up with the weekly contest. So yeah, it is my pleasure to bring Trey in a minute. As you can see here, Trey's got a pretty amazing background. He's an expert in search. He's an author of the book on search. He's been a crypto investor for a number of years, spoken at many conferences within the search space. A lot of people don't really realize, exactly how Trey came into the project, which happened right when we first published our white paper back in June of 2017. Trey reached out and said, "Hey, I love the vision for the project. I'm really excited. I want to buy some tokens." And also, you're kind of how you're saying it. It's maybe not the best way to say it. Think about it this way. And he started kind of coaching me on ways that we could evolve the vision of the project right out of the gate. And we're fortunate. One of the best things I think that came out of COVID was that we ended up with Trey as our CTO in June of 2020. So really fortunate about that. He is based in South Carolina, former SVP of Engineering and Chief Algorithms Officer at LucidWorks, which is the largest open source search company in the world, powers a lot of the Fortune 500 search experiences. The books that he's written on search are reference manuals, very prominent within the search space. And prior to that, he was director of engineering at Career Builders. So I think many of you have interacted with Trey within the forums and Telegram channels, but I don't know how many people have really interacted with Trey on videos. So Rice, if we can bring Trey in, that would be amazing. Oh, there he is.
Hey guys.
Cool. And maybe if you want to just shut this screen. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks. Hey, Trey. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, Colin. For sure, man. Happy to hop on. I know you run these things every week, and happy to. I'm always heads down with the team building, but happy to hop on, and hopefully we can do some questions as part of the AMA. And I can do the development update this week since I'm on.
That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, no, it's great to have you, and I think a lot of people really enjoy your presence within Telegram and just Slack and really just you're a force, man, and we're really lucky to have you. So thank you for everything that you do, and it's awesome to have you on. And I know the community has lots of questions, and there's just lots of stuff that's going on behind the scenes all the time. And sometimes, just my summaries of things are probably a little different than how you would position things, because, you've obviously got kind of the deep knowledge of what's really happening. So, would love to have you do the development update, and we'll get into some questions. And hopefully we'll make this a semi-regular thing. You've got a lot on your plate, so I'll hold down the weekly for it, but it would be cool to get you online, moving forward.
Yeah, sounds good. And if folks have questions while I'm on, feel free to post them in the chat for the video. And I think Colin is looking at them. We'll try to pull those up and answer as many as we can.
Perfect. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, Rice, we've got the development update. I don't know if we want that on screen at the same time. I'm thinking that'd be cool, and Trey can kind of run through that a little bit. There we go.
Awesome. Okay, so for this week, had a pretty busy week. We had a lot of things kind of in progress that we ultimately have either pushed out or in the process of pushing out. One of them, as certainly all the node operators know, we announced a couple weeks back that we were going to be doing an NFT specifically for node operators. There was a Medium post that went out about it, and we said that by the end of November, we would have a form available on the node's dashboard where people could come in and put in an EVM address, so Ethereum, Polygon, etc., where they have Web3 access, and that will essentially enable people to be who are eligible to be able to claim their NFT once it's available. So we still have a few details regarding the actual NFT in terms of the launch. We haven't said, is it going to be Ethereum? Is it going to be Polygon? And we haven't talked about the mechanics of the minting process. So I don't want to release those today, but those will be coming here soon because we're trying to get this out over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, we're working on the dev side to make sure we're good to go on the actual NFT and the process of and everything. So if you are a node operator and you have a node, go to your node's dashboard and just put in the address of any Ethereum wallet. Same thing works on Polygon. Just make sure you have Web3 access. So if you can pull it up in MetaMask, you're good. If you use some other wallet, just make sure that you can actually interact with Web3 websites. Don't put in a Coinbase address or something like that where it's a third party. If you don't have the keys, then it's not going to work. But that is live now. I got that pushed out. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask them in the channels. Not everybody is necessarily eligible, so check the Medium post to make sure you are eligible. But it doesn't hurt to put your address in there just in case. Maybe you'll get a surprise one day. The next thing is Colin mentioned the new ad units. I think he'll talk about this on the marketing slide in just a minute. But as we prep for mainnet, if you've read our vision paper, the whole model essentially works on the notion that users come in and run searches, and the more searches there are, the more advertising revenue comes in. And the more searches there are, the more valuable the traffic is for advertisers. So the more staking that happens, and the more advertisers are willing to pay for the advertising. So that whole model just grows on itself as the search engine and network grows. And so, to date, when we've been focused on testnet for nodes, we haven't really been as focused on the monetization side of the traffic. But as we prepare for mainnet launch, it's really important that we've got all the pieces working. And so we did launch this week a new ad unit that's going to allow us to bring in some external revenue into the system that can be used as we move forward to mainnet launch to be able to better make sure the tokenomics and everything are all in place as we want them. The next thing we worked on, so we've continued to work on the RVS replacement and Web3 withdrawals. So, I'm sure we'll get questions on this during the AMA. So I won't talk about it too much now, but we are very close on that. So the RVS replacement is gating Web3. If you haven't tuned in or haven't been following, RVS is our reward verification system. And essentially, by virtue of us being a project that has cryptocurrency and that gives cryptocurrency out to our users for running searches and being active on the platform, unfortunately, that does attract a lot of fraud. So a lot of people come to the platform and just run searches over and over to try to earn rewards or create fake referrals or do any number of things like that to try to basically generate and extract value out of the network that isn't designed for them. And so it's a fairly big deal to make sure that we ensure that there's not fraud, to protect all of the token holders, to protect the whole ecosystem. And so we do want to enable our users to be able to just, if you've got tokens on the platform, to withdraw them at any time. But we have to be very careful to ensure that the fraud isn't also happening, because the last thing any of us want is for it to be easy for someone to come onto the website, generate a bunch of fraud, get a bunch of tokens they shouldn't have access to, and then just withdraw them without any oversight. And so unfortunately, these things are kind of linked, but we're sort of about to cross the finish line on the RVS replacement. We've had it out for a while. We've been collecting the data, seeing the models work, and then just finding the edge cases that we're not handling very well. And so we've got some stuff rolling out today. We've got some stuff rolling out next week, and I think we're getting pretty close to being able to kind of put a fist out to all the token farmers and scammers, and kind of send them on their merry way, and then really focus on getting the Web3 withdrawals there, so that our active users and those who have purchased tokens can more easily use the system without the scammers being in the way. We've got some improved admin and withdrawal tooling as well. So if you've been trying to do withdrawals and waiting on the withdrawals team to approve your withdrawal, it can sometimes take a couple of days, because again, they're looking for fraud. They're just trying to make sure everything's good. So we're trying to increase the team that can actually go through and review those. So we've got some of that rolling out today, and then we'll be onboarding some folks next week. On the bug side of things, I had a handful of bugs this week. A couple parsing issues we fixed. There's one issue where the maximum number of rewarded searches a day is supposed to be 30, but if the token fluctuates up in value a little bit, you can actually get a little bit more than 30, and if it fluctuates down, you get a little bit less than 30. And so people never complain when they get extra, but when you only get 27 or 28 searches instead of 30, people don't like it. So we're looking at that one today. And then we've also been investigating a little bit of slowness with some of the ad units that can affect the search time. We obviously don't want people sitting around waiting on ads to load, so trying to improve that. And then last on the bugs, we do have a one bug where the way the site is set up right now, where you have presearch.org, and then we've got engine.presearch.org, which is the search site. It's actually possible at the moment, it's a bug, but for someone to be logged in on presearch.org and not logged in on engine.presearch.org. And when they run searches, the search sort of doesn't get tracked appropriately. So sometimes we're giving out rewards for people who aren't fully logged in and things like that. And so we're kind of tuning that and tweaking that. And that also has some implications for the RVS system as we've been testing things there. So just kind of closing a few of those little bugs and loopholes. The next one on here, the homepage and engine integration. So back to the previous one where I talked about engine.presearch.org, where you actually run your searches being separate from the main homepage. We essentially have two different technology platforms that kind of evolved over time. And as we get ready for mainnet launch, what we want to do is merge those together as best we can. So what you see right now for the search page will actually be on the main domain, presearch.org, and then we'll actually be replacing the current homepage with the homepage that you see if you go to engine.presearch.org, with a few additional adjustments and tweaks on the sort of UX side of things. In preparation for that, we have also a brand new menu system, sort of navigational menus around the site that's going to be rolling out. So we're those are in our sort of preview environment today, and we're going to be looking through those over the next week or so and making sure things are good. But we want to make sure that the experience across all of the platform and all the pieces is consistent in terms of the look and feel and how you navigate between things. So the new menus will be rolling out first, and then as we get closer to mainnet, we'll be consolidating the platform onto the main domain, and of course, eventually converting from presearch.org to presearch.com, which will be an exciting event as well. And then last but not least, kind of on the nodes platform and gateways looking forward, we have these two projects that are so smart node routing and geographically distributed gateways that are in the just past the design phase, but in the beginning phases of implementation. The smart node routing in particular is focused on making sure that when searches come in, they go to the best nodes that are going to provide the best responses, and then making sure that the best performing nodes are getting more searches than others. And so it's sort of an optimization problem between people running searches wanting to get the best and fastest results versus node operators wanting to ensure that their nodes are sort of being fairly routed to and rewarded and what have you. And so the smart node routing is for that. And then with that, we will be moving the gateways, which are all currently located in North America, around the world. So we'll have North American gateways, European gateways, Asian gateways, etc. And in preparation for both of those, we're currently working on some routing and latency improvements. So specifically improving some of the compression that we do between the nodes and gateways when they send messages back and forth, as well as between the gateways and the web servers, and also adding some DNS caching in at various layers, including in the node. We see a lot of node operators with flaky internet or flaky DNS providers that will report over and over in the node channel, hey, why am I getting this error about my DNS server not being reachable? What is that? The short answer is you have a bad or poorly configured DNS provider, but we can actually cache that and both improve the overall speed of your node and speed of the network, and reduce latency, as well as reduce some of the flakiness there. So those are all things in progress this week. Most of those are delivered. A few of them are going out early next week. The latency improvements will take a little bit more time, but yeah, in terms of development update, that's where we are for this week.
Awesome, man. Yeah, lots on the go, Trey. Appreciate everything that you and the team are doing. I know there's a lot on the plate, but pretty happy with the progress, and looking forward to rolling all this stuff out and pushing towards mainnet. It's going to be exciting as we get that really happening. And just, we're on presearch.com, and we've got Web3 withdrawals, and the fraud isn't as big of an issue, and just all those things, having the gateways all over the world, routing to the nodes that are performing the best, and still enabling everybody to have new nodes that join into the network and start accessing some of that traffic. I mean, it's pretty impressive. It's a pretty impressive system, and really, this is your brainchild. So thanks for bringing it to the project, man. That's pretty huge.
For sure.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll quickly touch on the marketing update for the week, and then we'll get into some questions. I already talked about 100 million plus searches in November, but that's a pretty huge milestone for us. We've definitely never seen traffic as consistent and with as much growth as we did in November. Really cool to see that happening. I did mention that I did Wired interview, so that happened this week on Wednesday. That piece I think is going to go live before the end of the year, but we'll see. It was a really good opportunity to connect with somebody who has kind of a real curiosity about Web3, and was able just to be like really transparent and informative, and kind of take off the BS that a lot of projects are feeding different reporters, and this journalist really appreciated it. We were on the call for over an hour, and it was a really good chance to connect. So we'll see what comes out of that one, but it did go real well. We've had some continued growth in keyword staking, up over 5.6 thousand keywords. Unique keywords that are staked now, so continued positive feedback and growth there. Still lots more to do, definitely, but it's coming together nicely. Did a podcast over the weekend on Saturday. There is a link to it here. If you pull up this presentation, you can go into the description for the video on YouTube or on Odysee and get the link to this screen here, and then you can click on this link. I think Alex will probably be sharing it out on social media as well. It was a good chat with these two entrepreneurs doing kind of a general business podcast. So check that one out if you get a chance. And so, as Trey mentioned, we do have a new supplementary ad unit. So the keyword staking ads are always going to be the top ad. It'll be the main one. But there are obviously, with 5.6 thousand keywords, that's, great growth and great early coverage. But obviously there are many different keywords aside from those ones that have already been staked. And there's currently, no monetization on those. And even on the ones that are staked, there's kind of limited monetization as far as, it's driving demand from the keyword staking platform, but it's not really a revenue type because there is no cost per click associated with those ads at this point. So we have integrated with a company that we're really well aligned with. Going to share some more information about them in some coming posts. Kind of found them because I was reading an article actually where the CEO was doing an interview, and he was talking about, kind of taking on Google and, trying to push through their dominance of the advertising space. He's been highly successful. It's a pretty major ad network, one of the biggest ones in the world. And there just seemed to be really great alignment, and they kept pushing to have a partnership and a way that we could integrate their ads. They've also been purchasers of Pre, which is cool, and so it's something that we're rolling out kind of on a rolling expansion basis, basically right now until eventually all the queries that are relevant will have a secondary ad unit from this external source. And then the ones where we don't have a keyword staking ad, it will be the primary ad unit. And we think that's going to bring some significant monetization into the project, which continues to put us in an even better financial position. And then really, as Trey mentioned, get the tokenomics worked out so that we can start to work towards the model that's in the white paper, where we're allocating a percentage of that revenue, to purchasing tokens back off the market that we can utilize for rewards and other purposes, as well as to incentivize node operators with additional rewards. So that's coming together. As we speak, we've started doing tests this week. And I think probably next week, you're going to see some of those go live. And then as that happens, we'll share a little bit more probably in next week's update about that company and, the founder and kind of their mission. So excited about that. And then last kind of thing, just we've got an intro video that we've been working on for a while. Going to plan is to share that on next week's call. Pretty excited about how it's been coming together. So that's about it for marketing and community update. So we are going to take community questions. I think anybody who's on the YouTube stream has the ability to comment, and it will go kind of right into the platform that we're utilizing to host the video. So if there's anything in particular, please go ahead and ask away. We do also have some questions that we've kind of compiled from Telegram and Reddit and some of the various channels that I'll go ahead and I'll ask Trey, and if Trey can get us his best takes on those, that'd be awesome. So let's do it. All right. Cool. Well, I'll run through the ones that I've got here, and then we'll give the community members a chance to add anything else in, and then we'll see how many of those we can get to. We do have a bit of a hard stop today in about 19-20 minutes, so we'll try to make sure we're wrapped up for that. So first one, this is a pretty common one. Can you tell us more about the NFTs for node operators? How will that work?
Yep. So I don't want to give too much away this week, just because we're still working on the details, and people hold on to every word we say and want to hold us to it. And I also want to leave a little bit of mystery and excitement for when it happens. But basically, we will be using an EVM compatible chain, probably, let's say, Ethereum or Polygon. I think it's fair to assume one of those two. You need to take an EVM wallet that you have for, an Ethereum wallet, Polygon wallet, they're the same thing, and put it in on your node's dashboard. And that will allow us to give you access to the NFT when it's available. That's what I'll say for now in terms of what you need to do. More details will come. Like I said earlier, make sure it's a Web3 wallet, so you can use MetaMask or something to go on and actually interact with the Web3 website and interface. So that's what you need to know. In terms of what's actually coming, I don't want to give too much away about that either. What I will say is, if you did read the Medium article, it said that everyone, as of the date of the article, is eligible. I would say if you are a node operator, put your address in there anyway. We've promised everybody an NFT. I guess I'll give one leak of information. There might be more than one NFT coming. That's all I'll say. Cool. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
There will definitely be at least one, but there might be more.
Okay, cool. Right on. Thanks, man. Sorry for putting you on the spot with some of this stuff.
Not a problem.
I know it's
not a problem.
Tough.
People will be excited. Just we'll hold off until we've got the details to actually release.
Okay, cool, man. So next question. When is the new RVS Web3 withdrawals coming? What's taking so long?
Yes, man. Great question. So two things. One, Web3. So the purpose of the Web3 withdrawals is so that someone can come to the website. They've got tokens on the platform. They're staking, what have you. They've made some rewards from, note running nodes, from searches, what have you, and they want to withdraw them. Today, you submit a withdrawal request. Unfortunately, because Ethereum's fees are so astronomically insane, Presearch can't cover the gas for, however many millions of users we have trying to do withdrawals. So if you want to withdraw, you have to pay the gas just like you would with any other platform. Essentially, you withdraw from Coinbase, you got to pay a fee. You withdraw from KuCoin, you got to pay a fee. You use any Web3 interface, you got to pay the gas. And so same thing with us. The difference is today because of the kind of fraud stuff we talked about earlier, our admins also, when a withdrawal request comes in, just double check to make sure that nothing's been triggered in the account that says, hey, this person's, hey, they've got, 2,000 tokens or 10,000 tokens they're trying to withdraw, and they all came from fake referrals or something like that. And so it's really important before we open up the gates for everybody to just pull their tokens off the platform directly, that the fraud detection system is rock solid and good and in place. So we've had it out. It's been running the models and collecting things, and we've been, think of it almost like layers of Swiss cheese, right? Like you have one piece and it catches 20% of the fraud, and another piece, and now you're up to 30, and you kind of keep stacking them until you're comfortable that you've caught all the edge cases. And so we're really, really close. I'm not going to get into details of the algorithms because we don't really want those to be public for the fraudsters, but we're very close. We just have a couple of lingering ones that we're working through. And as we're rolling those out, if you are somebody who is involved in some sort of token farming, just stop. And if you don't, we'll stop you very, very soon if we haven't already. So that piece has to be in place, and then the Web3 has to be in place. Web3 will be very quickly after the RVS stuff is finalized. We just, again, it's just for everybody's protection in the platform. We have to do it that way. That being said, if you do need to get your tokens off, if you submit a withdrawal request, there's clear instructions on the withdrawals page in terms of, submit the withdrawal, confirm it with your email address, send an email to get information about the gas fees, pay them, and then our withdrawals team will get a process. So everybody can withdraw. We're just trying to automate that process and make sure it's safe for everybody.
Cool. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. Here's one, a straight up quote, I think, of one of the ones in the channel right now. When mainnet?
When mainnet? So Q1 2022. We don't have a date. I know when I would like it to be. The issue with giving a specific date is, back in May, we pushed a mainnet roadmap Medium article out that said, here's the things we need to do sort of technically to get to mainnet. And probably somewhere between half and 2/3 of the work we've done since then has actually not been on those things, but it's been on other things that have significantly helped the project. So for example, the Android choice screen, becoming a default search provider across the European Economic Area, and things like that are major opportunities for us. But we actually didn't. That wasn't even on our radar at the time. But we did it, and it had a huge impact to both the project. If you sort of look from where we were to where we are now, so there's things like that which make way more sense to do versus committing to a specific date for mainnet and having to deliver, because it would just be detrimental to the project. This ad integration that we just did, same thing, getting monetization. It helps with the rewards model and the tokenomics of the overall platform. I can't even remember all the things we've done over the summer, but the new UI redesign. So most of you are all really familiar now with the new UI. The one we had before was good, but compared to what we have now, it looked very dated, and so we needed to get a refresh and update in preparation for growth on the platform and just being sticky with people. People don't want to look at an ugly search page all day every day and use that as their default. So there's a lot of things like this that as we have community input, as we come across opportunities to partner with people, there's just a lot of things that we need the flexibility to be able to do, because they're right for the project and right for the community. So exact dates don't have it, but I'm confident it'll be Q1, and as quickly as we can. We all want to get it out. We just want to do it in the right way.
Cool. Awesome, man. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Next one. Why continue on the Ethereum blockchain? Why not switch to a more cost-effective chain?
So our plan is to be multi-chain. So we're not stuck on Ethereum, but I do think that we don't know what the future will hold for Ethereum. When ETH2 comes out, we could have really, really low gas fees again, or it could be that there's just 10,000 times more transactions and gas fees are exactly the same. And it's hard to say at this point exactly how that will play out. But Ethereum is sort of the anchor chain to, most, if you think of, Polygon, you think of Binance Smart Chain, all these other chains, a lot of what is happening now is bridging. So you have a token on one chain, you bridge it over to the other where you've got cheaper gas fees and you can use it, and eventually you bridge it back over. But we're not really living in a, other than maybe, Bitcoin maximalists versus everybody else, we're not really living in a world where everything is one chain. We're living in a world where there's lots of chains. They all have benefits, pros and cons. One of those benefits is gas that you get on other chains, but to a large degree, people being able to wrap a token and bridge it back and forth between chains, I think that is the future. And so I don't really think it makes sense for us to invest a lot of time, both on the dev side, on the marketing side, on the partner integration side, and what have you, switching chains to another chain. But I do think that, enabling multi-chain bridging where we could potentially, flip over to use one of these other chains as the main mechanism, but still have, the base token that we've already minted and have all the history with kind of be the Ethereum token that's bridged over. There's no real downside to doing it that way. And there's a lot of upside versus fully switching. That being said, the follow-on question is, of course, well, when are we going to get multi-chain? And Colin, I think you addressed this last week on the update, but very high level, adding a wrap token and bridging it to another chain is easy. Like, we could do that in a couple of days, probably even sooner, right? And we don't even have to do that. Someone in the community could do that if they wanted. The issue is that, okay, great. So now you have a version of Pre that's over on Polygon or on BSC. What do you do with it? Well, if you can't deposit it onto Presearch, and you can't withdraw it from Presearch, and you can't deposit it on KuCoin, and you can't use it on Uniswap, the best thing that you would be able to do would be, okay, well, let me go create a liquidity pool on Binance Smart Chain somewhere, and with that, now I can trade there and have cheaper transaction fees. But as soon as you want to actually do something with the token, if you want to deposit it so you can stake it on a node or on keywords, well, now you have to pay a gas fee to bridge it back over to Ethereum, and then a transfer fee. So you're actually paying twice now, whereas before you would have only paid once. And same thing, if you want to get it over to that chain, you have to pay the fee anyway. And so it's one of those things where just having multi-chain doesn't actually grant you anything. You need multi-chain to be fully integrated into our deposit and withdrawal system, and ideally into any exchanges. And that's a not fairly non-trivial amount of work for us. And just priority-wise, versus mainnet and all this other stuff going on, it's not our top priority right now. Which I know everybody wants everything to be our top priority, but it will come. It's just it's unfortunately we're focused on making the withdrawals easier with the Web3 stuff for now, and the actual reworking of the deposit and withdrawal system to fully support multi-chain will be a little bit later.
Cool, awesome, man. Appreciate you getting into that detail. Let's see here. Is there a plan to make the pre-node dashboard appearance more appealing?
I saw that question come in earlier, and one of the community members actually said that they would offer up some designs for it. So maybe if we get something that looks a lot better, we can spend some time there. I don't know. I think it's pretty useful and functional. There's some issues with speed. So specifically for node operators, especially who have a lot of unclaimed that is on our to-do list. We were hoping to do it last week, but we had a couple other things that kind of bumped up to the top of the list that were a bit higher priority. So we'll get to that as soon as we can. That's not what this question was about slowness, but I imagine somebody has asked about slowness in the channel here. So so that is on our to-do list. We're constantly prioritizing, reprioritizing to make sure we're tackling the things that are impacting the most people the highest. And so that one, unfortunately, it impacts a lot of people, but usually you can kind of get around it. And thankfully, our node operators are fairly patient with us. Thank you, guys and girls, and everybody else. But I think that, it's if you want a new design for it and you've got some recommendations, definitely we're happy to take a look at them. It's not on our internal list right now, but happy to take a look.
Cool, awesome. Perfect. And let's see here. Last one I've got on the list, and then we'll see if we can grab a couple out of the comments here. Just what are the future prospects for nodes, node operators in terms of rewards? I know this one kind of comes up a lot. Will the same reward ratio keep on being applied as the project gets bigger and better? Will node operators get the same amount daily, even as the project develops and token gets higher, etc.?
Gotcha. Okay. So we alluded to this earlier, but the ultimate design, if you read the vision paper, is that as more people run searches and we get more advertising revenue, that revenue is essentially dispersed across the network. So node operators get a certain percentage of it. Searchers get a certain percentage of it. A certain percentage is used to fund internal operations. And you can kind of see that breakdown from the vision paper. There's some ratios in there, but they're all, they'll adjust up and down as needed. Ultimately, node operators will be paid based upon a percentage of advertising revenue, which means that as the network grows, there's more advertising revenue. If we don't need more nodes and more people don't run nodes, then each node operator will get more. If there's a very high payout, then obviously it's going to incentivize more node operators, and then there'll be a little bit less. So the system is designed to sort of dynamically figure that out based upon supply and demand. But yeah, the more advertising revenue there is, the more node rewards there will be to go around. That's not the current model while we're in testnet. The current model while we're in testnet is we want to make sure that everyone running the testnet, who, there's not a lot of searches coming in on the testnet. We want to make sure that node operators are able to cover their costs and sort of figure out what it means to run a node and be efficient. So people who are, getting really cheap hardware and running it really efficiently and getting high reliability scores, they're making a pretty decent profit, on a APR, APY basis. People who are paying a lot for nodes and running them poorly or getting bad, VPSs, and their latency and reliability scores are awful, they're probably not breaking even. But that's kind of part of the system, is to show you what works and what doesn't, and to incentivize node operators to sort of make their nodes work as best as they possibly can. So that overall dynamic is still there currently. But the actual payouts are basically, are you breaking even or making a slight profit? And the answer is yes for a lot of people and no for some percentage of people, and that will drive behavior. But yeah, once we get to mainnet, I'm hoping we'll have all the monetization pieces figured out, and then that model will be much more dynamic based upon actual inputs to the system.
Awesome.
So
cool.
The answer is in terms of whether it will go up or down, will be based upon advertising revenue. And, if we get a lot of advertising revenue, then hopefully it will go up. We have to get all those mechanics figured out. So I can't promise you specifically what it will go to, but that will be the model.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a tough question. We understand, why everybody who's asking the question is asking it, but yeah, it's a tough one to answer because we are trying to actually build a sustainable project. I mean, there's enough out there that are, just promising infinite rewards and stuff, but that's really not something that we've ever been looking to do. So yeah, it's going to be about sustainability. A lot of work we've got to do there still. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see what 2022 brings. So I've got let's see, we've only got a couple more minutes here before Rice has to jump off, and appreciate you accommodating us, Rice. So we'll pick a couple here that are more technical, and then I'm going to save these questions and I'll get to them next week. Let's see here. Just a quick one, extent rerouting search traffic to Europe versus will it impact node rewards for people who are hosting eventually outside of the US? I'm assuming it will.
Anyone who's running nodes outside of the US will probably be seeing higher rewards because their reliability scores will improve, specifically because of latency. The system itself right now just randomly routes to all the nodes. The nodes will essentially be dynamically allocated to different gateways based upon where the need is. And so, and then based upon their performance and location and what have you. So I'm not going to promise any particular node, whether you're going to get more or less or any particular operator, but in general, I would expect the net outcome to be that people running nodes that are more decentralized around the world will see a significant benefit from the change. People in the US, if 70% of the nodes are somewhere around the West Coast of the US, because that's where everybody thinks our gateways are, then it's possible that all of those start receiving less. Yes, because they're way too clustered and not decentralized enough. So I would encourage you, if you're thinking long-term, not to pay for like multi-year contracts for, Los Angeles or San Francisco or Seattle or Oregon or what have you. But they'll probably still perform. But yeah, things will be reallocated slightly based upon where the need is.
Cool. Quickly, gateways, will they be user ran or team ran?
So in the long run, the idea is that almost every aspect of the project will be fully decentralized. So right now, the nodes are user run, the gateways we still run. We would decentralize the gateways, but there's some privacy implications to that right now. And we're trying to balance decentralization with respecting user privacy, with token holders, all that. So there's a lot of dynamics we have to handle. The gateways will be user run. We don't have a timeline for that right now. In the vision paper, we've got different phases of the project, and I think the gateways being decentralized will come during phase 3, and we're still in phase 2 right now. So have a ways to go on that, but that is the vision.
Cool. And maybe just one last one we'll try to do here. Let's see, and then we'll jump off. Thanks again, Rice. Appreciate you hanging in there with us. Good technical question. I don't know that we'll be able to really get into the answer. If you're not going to disclose RVS algorithm, how can Presearch be open sourced in the future? I don't know. If you want to touch on that very briefly.
Hey, real quick, I can go for like another 6 minutes. So if you can answer that in that time, I can do that.
Awesome, dude.
Sorry to pop in and interrupt. If I can give you a little bit extra time, I just need 10 minutes to get out of my Airbnb before they charge me another night.
Okay.
I'm popping out.
We'll do it. Okay. So good question. So when I said that a second ago about open source, I said that almost every aspect of the platform will be open source. This isn't all fully thought out yet, but what I'm anticipating, if you think of Presearch as lots of different pieces of the system working together, right? We have a search engine. We've got an account management system. We've got a payment processing system with Ethereum and Bitcoin, and we've got third parties integrated for credit card processing, and we've got ad networks integrated, and we've got there's all these different pieces. One of the pieces is the fraud detection system, and so the purpose of the fraud detection system is to protect the entity that is paying the rewards out to people running searches. Today, that entity is Presearch. In the future, that entity might be somebody else. Imagine somebody running a gateway and web servers and nodes, and they've got their own advertising on the page, and that advertising leverages in the pre network, but it's their advertising, and maybe they have their own ads on the page, and maybe on that site they don't pay they don't pay search rewards at all. Maybe they do something else entirely. In that model, they don't need the RVS system because they're not paying people rewards for running searches, and they may not even be managing accounts. And so the notion of the decentralized search engine needing search rewards and needing RVS isn't really true. What's true is that our current model, where Presearch is giving as token rewards to people who run searches, needs it. But as we sort of think about the whole system and decentralization, it's very likely that search rewards come from different things. Maybe we have other crypto projects who want to use their tokens as rewards for people, and maybe it's not for running searches. Maybe it's for viewing certain advertisements, or maybe it's for any number of things in the experience. And so the notion that the model we have right now for rewards is the permanent model is somewhat assumed in the question of, well, why aren't you going to open source the fraud detection system? And I think I would just flip it and say, well, if we do things right, maybe we don't even need the fraud detection system long term. At which point, yeah, sure, we can open source it, and you can see what how we protected the system for a handful of years. But I think the platform will probably go more in that direction, where it's sort of up to individual operators to figure out some of the incentives on the search side of things. And hopefully on the node operations side of things, and on the keyword staking side of things, and that the ad network and what have you, that will continue to be more kind of collectively run for the benefit of the pre-token and what have you in the whole ecosystem. But that piece doesn't need the fraud detection.
Awesome. Great answer, man. And yeah, I think, we haven't talked a ton about kind of decentralizing the entire platform as much. So maybe that's something that we can talk about in a future update. Just maybe some more kind of visioning sessions. We can bring in some community feedback and talk about, just exactly where this can go. But yeah, as you said, right now we've kind of got the one model that we're kind of working on, but that's definitely not the end state. It's kind of a way for us to get from A to B, but ultimately to get to Z. There's going to be a bunch of different incarnations, and lots of things are going to evolve. So,
and I'll caveat that with saying that was one direction we could go. Nobody pulled this video up, a year or two from now and say, well, you said we were going to do X. Just giving an example of how things could evolve, in which case it wouldn't be needed. But yeah, lots of opportunities.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So just real quick, I'll answer the question: will there be images and ads? That's certainly a possibility at some point. How big is the pre-team? We're just over a dozen people. Pretty small team still, but punching definitely above our weight. And aside from that, I think we're probably going to go ahead and wrap up. I think we're actually going to skip the contest this week as well. We'll bring that back next week. And again, I'm going to save all these comments, and we'll bring some of those in they're on YouTube. Never mind. Next week's going to be fun. So yeah, appreciate you coming on, Trey. Thanks a lot, man. And looking forward to lots of great things coming in the next little while. And thanks, Rice, for running the video, accommodating us. Trey, thanks, man.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Yeah.